welcome back to HGC Europe. Calaris and myself both missed you during the break, but we hope that you're excited for our next matchup. We have Team Expert taking on beGenius.
Yeah, we do. Excited to see how Expert are going to do. They're my wild card pick to go a little bit further than everyone's expecting, rivaling maybe a top 3 spot. Who knows here for HGC Europe?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a hard matchup for beGenius in particular. In the standings right now, they're actually at the bottom right there with Trick Esport, and there is potential for them to be tied up with a 0-3 if Expert does win today. On the other side, though, Expert is in the top 2. In the top 3, which is actually the most important here, as we talked about, the top 3 will be going to the Western Clash. Of course, Fnatic just won their series as well, so they are hanging out there in the 4th slot with Team Dignitas and playing Ducks, Synergy, and beGenius and Trick Esport round out all the standings.
Yeah, beGenius, or Bronzed Man, as I like to also name them, with their lovely logo.
That logo, actually, I thought for a second, I was like, Caldor definitely posed for their logo, and they mapped it around there.
Some orange spray paint, Caldor there.
Definitely went. For you at home and you're just now joining us, we got the schedule for you to check out if there are any matches that really stand out for you. Earlier in the day, we watched Fnatic as they took on Synergy, and they decisively took it with a 3-0. Team Expert will be going against beGenius next. Myself and Calaris are here to bring you all the action and give you commentary. Later on, Gillyweed and Dreadnought, our friends from North America, will follow Galeforce Esports and Team Freedom. And then afterwards, the undefeated matchup between Team 8 and Superstars. Both have not lost yet, so that'll definitely be a good one to end our Sunday on.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. It's funny because every time it's like, we're done with our work, easy peasy, and then we go sit down and I'm like, actually, I'll just tune into NA. I'll just keep tuning into NA and see what's going on over there for a little while.
Shame on you for liking such an awesome game.
Damn.
So in the middle of the break, we did show this this video already about our players and what they're thinking about the matchup, but let's check it out again for those that are just joining us.
Team Expert is like not that good, but in draft they are like insane, like they can do everything, so we will see.
From playing them, they're usually one of the more straightforward teams to play, so for us, yeah, we have ADRD, the draft genius. He's like, it's fun to play other teams because he gives a lot of input on, oh, they're doing this now, and he's usually correct. And beGenius is one of the teams that he's very good at predicting what to do, so I don't think they will surprise us with much, but I guess we'll see.
Team Expert is very rare team because they have draft who annoyed us. We don't know what they can do every time, so it's hard to make strategy versus them.
So when we were preparing for qualifiers, we played a few games versus beGenius. And I would say that we are confident that we can win versus them, but when we played in qualifiers versus them, even though it was 3-0, we felt like the games were kind of close at some points, and I think they can surprise people and show that they're a better team than people give them credit for.
I think they can do weird stuff, but I'm not really scared of them because I think we are more or less on the same level.
Yeah, so the thing is, if both teams prepare something, it might go like rock, paper, scissors, and one team might counter the other one without knowing that they would do that.
Interesting to see what they think about this matchup. Obviously, it feels like Expert can handle this team. They're very straightforward, and to be honest, the results kind of look like it. beGenius the last couple of weeks has been very easy to kind of count on and draft. If they get their Tychus, they're in a good spot. If they don't get Tychus, they seem to fumble pretty hard.
I think for beGenius, it's time to don those tinfoil hats and think it's a conspiracy, because overall, you've got ADRD on the other side who's like, he can draft the crazy things. He is a draft genius, like they mentioned there. And when it comes to like things like Medivh cheats, I think ADRD cheats somehow, some way. Like he knows what's going to happen. That's why we call him the mad scientist. He's a phenomenon. Yeah,
you don't ban Medivh against Team Expert. You try to ban ADRD. Just unfortunately, you can't do it in game. All right, guys, let's find out the battleground that we are going to for game number 1 between our teams. Now we will have 2 maps banned out in our best of 9 maps that we have available. So Braxis Holdout and Cursed Hollow are going to be banned out. beGenius elects to move into Tomb of the Spider Queen for game number 1, which means that Expert will get first pick and first ban. So now the tools are in the hand here for ADRD and his crew to get really, I guess, a hand on what beGenius has available to them for the picks.
Yeah. The funny thing is about Tomb of the Spider Queen, it's actually a map that, in terms of the wilder picks, is slightly more figured out. You see things like Chromie getting even banned on this side of things. But Medivh, very strong on this map. I wouldn't be surprised if it was in the second rotation of bans for beGenius, as at the moment they're going to be... Oh, wow, Expert even banned Sassar to begin with. They didn't have to do that, but it makes me think then that they actually just don't want to play Tassadar comps themselves and look for shielding elsewhere if they need it.
Well, they might start adjusting their picks here and pick up Ragnaros if that was given away, but beGenius is not feeling that. Will ban out the Ragnaros. Now, Expert can figure out what they would like. I expect Expert sometimes during this entire series to take Tychus relatively early away from beGenius. I just feel like they crumble if they don't have that Tychus on their side. They're really comfortable with it, beGenius. And so if you take away the Tychus, it feels like their draft kind of falls apart a little bit in those first couple slots.
Yeah, so looking at Team Expert, what do they want to go down the path of? It feels like Nick on the Tychus, you said it at the beginning or whatever, like him, you know, that could be a big rivalry here between who actually wants to take that, because Arakeen on the Tychus was a big point. They're going to pick up the ETC for Bad Benny. No surprises, he was playing it well in their previous 3-0s.
Yeah, Bad Benny, again, just to let you guys know, actually has the lowest amount of time spent dead versus any other warrior in the HGC right now. He was only dead 2.5% of all of his games on average, which is actually insane. The next one after that's about 4.3, and then you start hitting 6 to 8s, because naturally warriors do get picked off as they're the main engagers here in Europe.
That's actually an interesting thing that you bring up, because so far they haven't gone up against the toughest of opponents, I would say.
Yeah.
But when they do go up against those tough opponents, the big three, then you could see, you know, like their focus is like, we're going to take out your front line first and then try and step onto your back line. So that could be interesting later on down the line. And there's our Tychus that we were theorizing heavily contested between these two teams from before.
Yep. In terms of just consistency, when it comes to beGenius, there are 4 heroes that were picked if they were ever available, were Malfurion, Tychus, Muradin, and Ragnaros. From there, they start to really kind of deviate out a lot. They pick random heroes in their 4th and 5th slots. They try out different compositions based on who they're facing. So that's going to be a standard throughout the game. If those 2 heroes are left up, you should, and most likely will see beGenius picking them up. Now, Expert has a chance here to start working on what they would like to get up. Normally, with it being Tomb of the Spider Queen, you're gonna move more into wave clear more than anything here.
True.
As you want that to be on your side of the battleground. We've seen Zul pickups already, Johanna pickups in the past.
Yeah.
Heroes that allow for you to go that route, or you go for gank heavy compositions. You usually pick them here in the 2nd and 3rd slot.
If they want the Medivh, though, I think they have to do it now. Is the one thing, you know, the trick up the sleeve of Expert, up the sleeve of ADRD. But I think you're right. You know, focusing on stuff like wave clear could always be strong. I like the Zul. I think the Zul is even cool in this rotation. I think if, because it's Europe, we could see it later. That's shields.
Okay.
All right.
So we're getting our mix-up now from Expert, which is now Vala into Zarya. I think I agree with you. beGenius needs to ban Medivh now, because even now more so, Medivh becomes a very tasty option for the Vala, as you get the double shields, you get the Force of Will, you get the Zarya, and then you can go into a healer, and you just allow Vala to really just kind of maneuver around the battlefield.
It's sort of that weird spot of, do you want to go totally all in on the Vala being strong, or do you want to kind of diversify yourselves? Because having the Zarya available with the Vala already is cool. It shields for her. So maybe they... I'm racking my brain about, do they even have to ban the Medivh now? Because they've got, like, I don't think they would go super all in on the Vala. So it's an interesting conundrum.
Well, we'll definitely see here. The thing is, they think about is, can they go Medivh and then their other healer and be fine? And they can. They actually have decent wave clear already. If they get Rhaegar in the 5th slot, they're good to go. If you want to ban someone, I would ban the Medivh or the Rhaegar to prevent them from having the setup of a great healer. Because then they go down the route of Ario later if they want to have that wave clear. And actually, Rhaegar does get banned by beGenius. Expert now, in terms of bans for them, they have Tychus, Malfurion. The only thing that I might be worried about from beGenius, if you're thinking about isolation, is maybe Muradin. But I don't think he really negates a ban here.
The thing is that I think a Johanna ban could even be pretty good here. Danatan, very, very well versed on something like a Johanna. It's
True.
good for the map. If Team Expert has critically analyzed beGenius here. So I would like that.
If we do see a ban from Diablo, perhaps, that kind of is an indicator that Expert wants to take the Medivh. So Muradin could be a choice to get rid of just to prevent the comfortable stance that beGenius has. I do like your thought there, though, of the other ban here of taking out Johanna. The wave clear is just too strong. You can also stop ETC and his mosh pits and his power slides. And she gets decent flanks on Tomb of Spider Queen. So there are 3 warriors here that I'm kind of looking at for bans. Nice. Johanna is banned out. Now, beGenius, where do you go, my friends? What is your picks? Your major picks are taken away now.
All right, so yeah, I'm thinking damage dealers as well as warriors. Damage dealers, Li Ming becomes less of an option because Zarya shields just brutalize it. Like, it's not even funny. In a very similar way to how the shield from Medivh, reabsorption later on down the line really hurts that. So I think that's kind of off the table for them. Damage dealers, let's see. Warrior, I think it has to be something like a Muradin now. Yeah. I would like a Thrall as a solo lane maybe on their side as well, in the hands of Tank for the win.
I can see Muradin working. I can see Leoric working here. I agree with you in that regard.
Give me a Thrall. Give me a Tank and a Thrall. And then save your damage dealer for last as a reactionary pick to see what Expert is going to bring out in those last 2 slots.
Gul'dan can work too against Zarya. Something else to think about.
Yeah.
Horrify strong there. There's the Zul we were talking about earlier. So they get it. So they get Zul and they get Muradin. So now beGenius has solid wave clear. They have good pickoff.
So Zul fits that kind of Thrall theory that we had just then.
Yeah. Thrall's still viable, by the way, too, because you need a bottom laner. So Thrall can't be down there. There is suddenly Alarak being possible. Rexar, if we wanted to get completely crazy. We're going to decide what Expert picks up here, and that way they have that 5th slot available to counter whatever they see. Do we see Medivh from Expert? I'm trying to think outside the box here what they would not get on their side if they didn't want to go for Medivh. I could probably use another mage now. Li Ming could work kind of hard against Zul, though.
Unless they do go Medivh, I'm wondering what ADRD is actually going to play here. Because if I'm looking at this right, he could end up being on the Zarya, actually, which is a bit foreign to him compared to other...
Do we go Oriole Gul'dan?
Oriole Gul'dan.
Nope, there's Brightwing, so no Gul'dan. And there's Leoric.
Leoric. Okay, that's a heavy front line. Zarya kind of blurs that line between warrior and assassin, though. When you see, if they see, like, for example, the grenade build that Caterpillar made oh so annoying yesterday, then there could be a potent mix there.
Yeah, we're still on old patch for you at home, so the Zarya grenade builds have not been nerfed yet, like they will be whenever the Valeera patch does go live here at the HGC. Okay, so final 5th pick here. So Thrall is an option. Alarak, less of an option, in my opinion. It
kind of shows some confidence here from Team Expert, considering that I think that they took Leoric because A, Tychus, you know, opens up the good front line for beGenius, because then obviously they don't have to deal with that on the other side. But it's a really weird dynamic. They have 3 very beefy warriors against a Tychus, but Leoric is good because there was the potential of a second warrior coming out on the other side. But that's a lot of front line as well for beGenius if they do go that way.
That bottom lane, soul lane too, right? Then you definitely need that Falstad being the choice. Okay then. So Falstad helpful against those entombs. beGenius, they have okay early game. I just feel like Expert has a solid response with the Vala wave clear. If the grenade builds come into play as well, they can poke down around the turn-ins. There's a lot of choices here available for Expert that I just naturally like in this draft. I think beGenius can get picks, but their Muradin's going to have to be playing out of his mind in the early game, it feels like. And their Leoric needs to be kind of messing up a lot and go full murky mode and just feed all day for beGenius to take an early lead, it feels like.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried for Muradin. Because he is going to be a focus for Team Expert. Yeah. He is going to melt if a Drain Hope hits. He is going to have to get away from that position. And then at that point, your front line is a Zul.
Yeah.
So Gust is going to have to be super on point. I am kind of scared for beGenius here.
Let's see how it shapes out for them. But you at home, we always love to hear from you and all your comments. Hit us up on Twitter. Heroes Esports is the tweet that you will be tweeting to, and make sure to use that hashtag HGC. We read them live here, of course, because we like to hear from you, and we also like to read what you say about the drafts. Yeah, I'm immediately leaning towards Team Expert way, way too heavily here. The more and more I think about it.
A scarier thing as well, now that I look, is that they have Brightwing as their healer, which then, if Muradin is the focus point, one of the only ways he has to get out is Dwarf Toss. But if he's polymorphed, he's not jumping away. That's tough.
And the heals don't hurt too much either. You had the chance to go for groupies here with ETC, or I'm sorry, Prog Rock. It used to be called groupies back in the day. But yes, Prog Rock is definitely something you can go for. It's easy to finish that quest too if you're rotating between the middle and the top lane with the regen globes. You don't really need the block party that much here. Tychus, while scary, you're usually just going to run away from in the early game. There's nothing to lock down here except for Bone Prison and Roots. But with a Brightwing watching the cleanses and Zarya being there with the shields, you actually don't mind getting caught because you get energy for your Zarya. And for the most part, you can deal with that damage relatively well. So Expert just has so many tools here that is absolutely frightening to deal with against beGenius. Now, again, there are ways for beGenius to make this work. They get a lead by picking off people in the early game with that Stormbolt Muradin combo, get a pick off here and two, and then have Zul just go ham. Zul push middle lane, push top lane, and start spreading out. So we are ready for game number 1 here between our teams. Team Expert facing off against beGenius. Second series of the day. Let's begin here on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Okay, to the left-hand side in the blue, it will be beGenius with Unstable going to be playing the Malfurion. We will have Danatan on that Muradin. A lot is on him here. Arakeen on that Tychus. Next up, it's Kira going to be on Volstad. And finally, Tank for the win is on the Zul.
And to the right, Team Expert here in the red, currently up 2-0 in the HGC. ADRD getting that dance on the side there. Bad Benny playing ETC. There's ADRD playing the Zarya. Also, Leoric will be played by Blade. Blade is a wonderful player. I've been watching him more and more lately. And Nick rounding out the entire team here with the Vala.
So it shows a lot of confidence from Team Expert that they go into a 3-warrior composition against the Tychus. So for beGenius, it's going to be difficult here, I feel. You know, oftentimes we've even said stuff like, yes, Zul with his Scythe will be able to get a lot of slow on to those heavier front lines, but I don't know if it is going to be enough to subside the tide on towards trying to kill Danatan.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a trade-off, man, for our teams to see how it does occur here. Vala's going to have to be an absolute expert for Team Expert, so we'll see how Nick rotates with him, but we've seen Nick be a fantastic Salt Assassin here for the teams. ETC is actually the one that's going to hold down the bottom lane for our team, rather than the Leoric, which is interesting to me. Tychus is down there as well.
And that's going to be the first pick off on towards Zarya. ADRD will fall. Great little choice by them. Zul falls in response to it, so 1-for-1 at the moment. Interesting talent choice to start things from Muradin with the Stormbolt talent. I feel he's going to need every little bit of survivability possible. A block might have been quite important for that, but yeah, we'll see how it goes on down the line. I could be wrong. I could quite easily be wrong. These guys know what is going on.
Danatan, I think we were in that build the other day as well. He seems to favor it against multiple melees. It seems like, all right, well, if we get the damage ramped up here for Muradin, we have a solid opening. Tychus could then have the chance to burn down more. But yeah, we'd love to watch more games here with that build and get a feel for why he keeps going that way, especially here being the solo warrior for his team.
Yeah, I do like, though, that it's Season Marksman on Volstad, because overall he's going to have a huge front line to hit, constantly just wailing away at it. Volstad is probably not the focal point for them to try and get on towards. So there should be a lot of freedom, in theory, for Volstad to actually do some damage.
Yeah, gotta agree with you. Expert keeps up with the rotations here, and so far beGenius, while being aggressive, hasn't really netted anything in terms of kills. Bad Benny, though, is in the bottom with the Orc going for an engage on Tychus. Tychus does escape for now. At the top lane, though, Kirwa continues with the hammering on Nick, and Nick will sidestep the damage, continue the rotations. And that's all this early game is about on Tomb of the Spider Queen. As my friend Pallytime would say, rotate or potate, man. You need to make sure you get that experience or you'll become a potato as you fall behind.
Rotate or potate?
Yeah, man. Pallytime's an awesome guy.
All right, man. Okay, well, Team Expert going to back off there for a moment. Bad Benny looking to just tank up whatever we can. So not too much harm in their way just yet. Continue this for a while. Leoric down towards the solo lane, always a great solo laner. I think not only was Leoric pickup pretty good for them, there was always the potential that beGenius could have gone for that as their last choice as well, and then had really good frontline for themselves, but not to be the case. All good.
Well, in terms of gems, it's all good as well for both teams. Expert keeps getting their turn in slightly here, but so far beGenius is matching them with 41 gems on their purse as well. Kiro keeps up with the harassment here in the top lane, and Bad Benny and Nick will work on killing off these minion waves. For the most part, though, there's been no major push back and forth with both teams. Usually at this state, around level 5, level 6, ooh, the gate here on the bottom. Kiro goes for it. The hammering will connect. Zari coming in with the shields, though, will go for a turnaround. Blade missing the spooky hand. Will be forced to retreat for now, but we will have a slight turn in here as Unstable drops off 5 gens.
And it looks like Team Expert here is prioritizing a bit more survivability than like kill potential on towards the front line of the tank. So it's hardened bones and not a drain hole build from Leoric, more just keeping him alive against some of the power that is going to be coming out from the False Stab, the Tychus there. They can really start shredding up some of that front line.
Yeah, it gives you a chance, too, to actually sit there and take the brunt of that minigun damage onto Leoric as you reposition, and that allows your ETC and your Zarya to move forward in. So I like the pickup. I agree with you. Just trying to hold that front line as well as they can and really try to bait up maybe some miniguns there from Tychus.
So ADR just poking on away at the front there against Danatan. Bad Benny, like, why is at the front? Here comes Blade joining the fight as level 7 is about to pop here for both teams. Iron-forged momentum for our Meriden. Okay.
Expert's kind of being bait into a fight right now because beGenius has finally dropped off a lot of their gems, and they actually get the Web Weaver. They were trying to get Expert to come fight them.
Yep.
If they got the Web Weaver, great, but they definitely want to start getting those kills in if they could, but does not occur here as Expert just allows for the turn-in to happen. I'm going to try and hold on to the push that comes their way. I feel like there should be a couple of turrets picked off on this trade-off just based on Zul being on the battlefield.
So let's see how all this is going to line up. It's already not too bad a start here for beGenius. One of the better positions that they've been in at the start of their series here. The cleanup will begin here for ADRD and the guys on Team Expert. Good rotation down towards the bottom. Get themselves some of these towers. This is actually a very healthy Web Weaver, so they could get big damage done at this fort. Yeah,
with 3 people being here, Leoric really can't do too much. He needs assistance from his team, and here it is. Bad Benny does rotate in. The Bone Prison connects. He power slides away. Here comes Kirsten as well here with the phase shift in. Tank for the win, low on HP. ADRD going for the grenades. Is popping a few members down, but they need to turn their attention to the Web Weaver, and they will clear it up. However, the top Web Weaver is continuing the push, and there is no ammo here, which means they should grab the turret experience.
Yeah, not bad. So they got themselves towards 9, or towards 10 quite quickly. Demolitions Expert finished up here for Zarya as well. It's going to make her a bit more potent as the game goes on. I would love to see the level 20 grenade talent as well down the line, but that's certainly very far off. A stun, but not much. Danatan just looking for extra stacks here as his team was a little bit further behind him.
It always feels good to get that ding as you get that quest going. One of the best sounds in here this tournament feels like. I swear I picked Compounding Aether on Chromie just because of that ding. It makes me feel like I'm hitting steel shots more harder, if you will, than you normally would. Right now, beGenius is on track to get to level 10. If the Expert wanted to get a turn in, I would do it now. Before they get that heroic power, but that's not going to occur here as Bad Benny gets focused down. The gems will be grabbed here by Kirsten and ADRD. Can they turn this around? Yes, they do get a takedown for themselves. Looking for more, Nick is down here on the bottom left.
It was a brilliant lockdown, but they always keep sacrificing Zul for that. That's happened twice in a row that the fights have gone initially in favor of beGenius, and now they're going to look for more damage. That should be a kill on Nick. Great stuff here. Good Twilight Dream as well, just slightly on the edge of that. Oh no, a bit of a missed gust. Maybe
the mighty gust becomes the mighty whisper as it just slides by everybody. Yeah, just trying to go for another kill there before Team Expert hits level 10, but good pickup on ball there. Danatan really leading the charge for his team, and you're right, the Malfurion full up on the Twilight Dream prevented any escape from occurring, and beGenius will now deal with the pressure coming from Expert as they were able to sneak a turn in there in the bottom.
Yeah, and everyone's res just at the right time here. Valor are a little bit lucky behind, but they'll be able to, as you say, put that pressure on. Once they get these towers, they've actually done a bit better job of soaking, I think, have Team Expert. So they'll catch up in experience and actually take the lead here once the towers go down.
Good hold there on Blade, using his Wraith Walk to get away, but also not allowing the Bone Prison to connect by being unstoppable. Oh! The Entomb over the wall. Danatan stuck here. Here's the Rain of Vengeance. There's the follow-up. There's the swing, and that's a kill.
And this is where it becomes a problem, because now we said at the beginning, they're going to try and focus kills on towards Danatan. When he goes down, there is no front line here for beGenius to stop this kind of tsunami potentially later on from actually slowing down. So that was a nice pickup there for Team Expert, exactly what they needed to start asserting their dominance on the map.
Yeah, gotta agree with you, and they continue to assert their dominance, going to the top lane here, already killing the laser, working on the fort at the same time. They have the chance here to take this fort as the hatred stacks start to go up for Vala, but with Kirwa on the right side, threatening with a mighty gust, and Murden just spawning, Expert wisely pulls away to prevent themselves from getting caught out of position.
All right, so we can actually take a look at that again and see exactly how that played out. So let's keep an eye on Danatan down towards the bottom. At this point, his Dwarf Toss must be on cooldown, and that is a great Entomb over the wall to set that up with the Rain of Vengeance follow-up. Actually, I think the Polymorph towards the end secured it. The Dwarf Toss must have come off cooldown, and it's exactly as we envisaged before the game began.
And a small thing that happened there, too. Hang on, hold that thought there. As Danatan goes to the engage, there's the Stormbolt and ADRD. Nick dropped down the Rain of Vengeance. Danatan does not have his jump available. Bad Betty continues to chase. The Entomb is up. Will we see it here from Blade? Blade waiting it out. There goes the cleanse from Brightwing. Nick trying to get more, but they will retreat. Something to know on that Entomb is that there was actually a wall on the way to go for the kill. The entire team immediately focused the wall first and then followed up to kill the Murden with the Rain of Vengeance and all the combos. The awareness there to be aware that they need to kill that wall first and then kill the Murden is absolutely extraordinary.
We can expand that statistic that we just had of 100% win rate with Brightwing and ETC together. They're 100% win rate anyway. It's 3-0, 3-0. So every hero is doing really well for them right now, although this could go a little bit worse for them as ETC will end up going down. That was good lockdown there from beGenius and pushing on down towards the bottom against this little position here. So that's a 2-for-0 trade there in favor of beGenius. Exactly what they needed to get 13.
Solid focus from Erikeen as well, getting ETC burned out. Another 15 seconds until we see Brightwing on the field as well as ETC in the next 9 seconds. And beGenius takes the opportunity to get a turn in. They would love to get a fort here on this push. You're seeing them set up for that to get their Web Weavers on the path to victory.
One thing that actually I do want to point out from that is that Team Expert does have the potential to go 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. And if they do here, then that is an absolutely amazing start to their HGC Europe. But you can see here that this is the best start that beGenius has had in any of their games really so far. So they're really giving Team Expert a good run for their money. Yeah,
they certainly are. It feels like, and I agree with you, every time we've watched beGenius, we've seen them maybe some flash of glory here, but we haven't seen them ever be an elite for an entire game, ever at the start. And right now they are an elite, 14-13. They took a beating on their fort, but in terms of control and fights, they're doing really well, besides the Murden getting picked off. There's an Entomb, though, on tank for the win. He will be able to escape here as Zul is doing well. Danton, though, in the front line looking for more. Can he get on ADRD in the bottom right? Nick will drop the Rain of Vengeance. ADRD continues to keep cutting backwards here with these shields.
And it's the focus on Dantan that is so important. He does Dwarf Toss away. There's nothing to follow up to keep him locked in place. That Web Weaver toward the bottom right will get a little bit more damage done here for Team beGenius, as now they look to just push themselves towards the middle. Get that. Oh, okay, they did get it. Great. The fact that they get that well means that they have a little bit stronger control over the turning points, because that well is the one that is closest to the 2 turn-in locations.
beGenius is actually pretty far ahead now. They got the fort at the top, they got the fort in the bottom. They're on their way to level 16. Now, Expert has a counterattack available to them. They have 32 gems, so they could move in for the turn-in, but already, beGenius has done a great job of controlling the map. They have balls set in the bottom to watch out at that turn-in location, and they have the rest of their team floating around the top location at the same time. So Expert forced to pull back. They grab some mercenary camps, and all you can really do at this point is continue grabbing gems, but push out your waves, because you need to get your opponent to respawn to the battleground before you get those turn-ins.
So it's not a quest per se, but the Perfect Storm Talent at level 1, he's currently got 35 stacks. So that thing's almost hitting for an extra 200 damage each time. Currently at 175 damage extra. So Danatan's been really on point with those Storm Bolts. 35 at 12 minutes is good. That's 36.
I mean, to be fair, the more I think about it, it's great with a Zarya pickup because she doesn't have any mobility, so there's no way she's going to dodge that if you line it up right around a corner. So, yeah, he continues to land those, and he's getting rewarded for it. That's for sure. Web Weavers do get turned in here for Expert, but beGenius just hit 16, and they are wanting to take a fight. Danatan leading the charge. Here's Kirwall, though, moving straight up. The Mighty Gust pushes him across the wall, but the wall was actually in the way there, and it saves Expert.
All right, here comes the focus onto Danatan. How well are Expert going to respond to that? Wraith walk away by Blade down towards the bottom, and he will move away. That's a jump forward. Ambitious by Danatan. He could get punished, but manages to just barely get away. Ooh, that was close. It's because he had heavy impact that he wanted to go for that, but it's still kind of scary. Yeah, it just didn't connect, and now Expert can take this advantage and push forward with it with the Mighty Gust being down, the Skeletal Mages, as well as Avatar. beGenius is in a scenario where they don't really have the best defense overall unless Expert walks into a Twilight Dream. So, Team Expert continues their push, and I don't think they actually really want to fight overall unless they hit the 16. They're here just to grab this experience from the fort. They're floating around, Blade in the bottom right, but he still has the Wraith walk, and there it is. Expert is now tied here in experience, 16 to 16, and they have Web Weavers pushing the middle and bottom lane. It's just a total focus on Danatan. Zoning him out meant that a lot of the damage up towards the top couldn't really slow down the Web Weaver because the rest of the members were zoning out the damage, whilst unfortunately Danatan couldn't help. Ooh, that's a great little gust, actually. Over the wall there, slamming across the wall. We're going to have Arakeen bringing the damage on the Orc. He will be able to walk away from the Drain. Hope Tank for the win coming from the side. Does have the Bone Prison. Big Twilight Dream hitting multiple members, and Zarya gets taken out. Also a Stormbolt from Danatan. Heavy impact on Bala. Nick in trouble. Bad Benny goes for the power slide into the mosh pit, but instantly interrupted. This is the best beGenius we've seen so far here, all HGC EU, as they're going to take down ETC. They caught Zarya in a perfect location. She was too far forwards extended, and that is beGenius looking to take boss and looking to take keep. And right now, if you're Expert, I say give it up. Just make a rotation, and they are doing that. They're actually heading to the bottom left. Try to get a keep wall at least. Maybe you get your opponents to come respond to you, and then you wait for your entire team to spawn. Bala has really good single target DPS with their auto attacks, even though they've gone multi-shot build, so they can clear this up. They just have to wait it out and wait for the teams. All right, yeah, so not too bad here as the steal overall, but of course they have to look for consolation prizes. They don't have the gems to turn in. That's a bit of a shame there. Not oftentimes what we see when you see these boss calls after a team has like taken 2 kills, the opposing team will get a turn in and it will be fine, but now this is a lot of pressure. It's both the boss and the turn in coming from beGenius. They're just going to back off from here for a moment, but when those Web Weavers come along, nom nom nom. I gotta agree with you. And ADRD actually stood in the boss here to get damage so he can get the energy to help clear up this boss because they needed to deal with the Web Weavers afterwards that the players was mentioning. There was an aggressive Blade in Tomb. He was trying to get a pick off before the fight. It would help out with holding this push, but it did not connect, and that means they are Tombless here for a small margin of time. Bad Benny will be hit. Oh. Here is the cleanse, though. Bad Benny starts to escape away. The Mighty Gust knocks everyone back. Can there be follow-up? Danatan low on HP, but so is Blade. Blade will escape with the Wraith Walk, and now the Keep finally starts taking damage from beGenius. And that's going to be a power slide on it against Tank for the win at the front there. Danatan jumps in valiantly to push Blade away. Almost got themselves the key, but it's not going to go down just yet. This is an even fight here. And Tomb's up. Yeah, they were looking for something, but that was a good route coming out there from beGenius. Unstable, playing well. They just back off for now. And I think Expert has weathered the storm perfectly. Honestly, that Keep could have been killed off with a boss push and a Web Weaver. Now, they move to the bottom in the middle lane to deal with this Web Weaver, and they lose a fourth out of it, but it's definitely much better losing a middle fort than losing your Keep in the top lane. Because we've talked about it in the past here in HGC. If you lose that top lane Cape, suddenly a later boss becomes that much more deadly. Yep, definitely. It's a scary thing to have to deal with. The one thing that I'm a little bit worried for beGenius is that as level, when both teams get level 20, and I think Team Expert will delay it out to level 20, then the game slows down. That is when it becomes a little bit harder for beGenius to find the right fights that they want. This would be a nice pick-off if they can get it, but it doesn't look like it. ATRD with the shield from max range there down towards the bottom. Cute stuff. Quite cheeky, yeah, because that's experience that you might lose if that Leor goes down, which is ever more important right now as they are getting towards 20. And also gems would have been dropped. He had 34. Oh, yeah, true. I mean, Brightwing could have potentially picked them up and then blink healed away, but it's, you know, always a potential risk to just get caught out there again and lose 2 and 34 gems. Well, beGenius
slightly in the lead here, about 3/4 of a level over their opponents, and they're just grabbing everything they can on the map. Here is the Giant for the bottom lane pressure that Expert will definitely have to deal with later. Danatan is scouting out the Merc camps on the right side. He does spot it, and I don't think Bad Benny actually sees him yet. The vision's slightly low here, so we could have a rotation from beGenius to move in.
He could pull a Noble S, or he could... Nah, actually now. Blade's in too good a position, and he sees that there's nobody behind him there for the moment, and they just saw that the easy camp had been captured towards the bottom. He could have pulled a Noble S, tried to jump in, not shown that the bottom camp was being captured, and then put fear in the heart of Team Expert, because it would have been 20 against 19. But not to be the case.
Not to be the case, but Expert making a case to get to level 20 here as they are slightly over 19.5 in experience. If you're beGenius, I think the weak point on the map to push here is that top lane. At least get some more pressure on that keep while you still do have a slight window of a lead, and they are doing that. They are grouping up. They're pushing down the wave here. They can get some poke going down, target some toss grenade. We can have a hammering from Kirwa, and this keep could be in danger of being taken away. Bad Benny, though, doing a great job of zoning. Mighty Gust into Polymorph, though, in the middle of the hammering cast animation. The laser is burned down. Does Expert hold this? Here's the Entomb. They're still not 20.
Tech for the win's going to end up falling there. Likewise, so is Blade on the other side, but I think Zul going down means that they don't have as much damage that they would like to hear. beGenius is going to be on the retreat out. Blade, likewise, still, even in his Wraith form, will slow down all of that. So they don't want to take that fight. It's 20 versus 20. And something that I did want to mention is that sizzling attacks on the side of Tychus is going to get mad value in these fights. But now is when things slow down, because 20 is on the side here of Team Expert, and it can be very, very annoying to actually break this kind of front line at level 20. Yeah,
beGenius will have to wait for a tad bit here as they wait for the Zul to come back to life, while Leoric's already working on that here, spooking around. They do have a turn-in of 94 gems available, so the moment Blade does spawn, I want to see an aggressive play from Expert to get that turn-in in. One, to alleviate pressure on their keep in the top right, but also to get a push going in their favor.
Yeah, the defensive capability now for Team Expert is quite significant. Not only Hardened Shield on Leoric, but also Unyielding Defender on Zarya at level 20 means it resets the cooldown of both of her shields when she's used them. So, I mean, what normally happens is that a team will say, all right, Zarya's used her shields, all right, now time to attack that target. But there will be shields, then they'll time out, and then they'll come up straight away again as long as ADRD is on top of things. So there's more time that beGenius have to be patient with.
Yeah, that Storm Talon really messed up the flow thing. There is a gauge here by Blade. He drops the Entomb, but there's no one here to follow it up. Yeah, ADRD is poking around. Blade still low on HP. Curson trying to keep him alive here with passive heals. There's also the Pixie Dust, but Blade still walking away. The Drain Hope keep him alive just barely, but still not enough as he will fall victim. Danton, though, low on HP, while a Web Weaver is already knocking on the front door of the top keep.
Yeah, looking to... Actually, that's a lot of power up there. I think Expert, they could even just try and keep this fight going. They're looking to push forwards and be aggressive because they want to see how much that could get done. But beGenius is not going to fall for the team fight. They're just going to move back, make sure this keep does not die. A lot of power towards the bottom as well. They should be able to clean up quite nicely with Zul's cleave. Yeah,
they definitely should be. Danton, though, looking for more as he goes for the engage on Stormbolt. He has Kirwa with the fly. We still don't have Blade here for 16 seconds on Leoric. So the rest of the team of Expert is needing to retreat. And there they are, moving away. A nice rain of vengeance. Bad Benny, though, getting low on HP. Not enough to chase, but Blade in the top left set up here for an Entomb.
Going for a tank for the win as well. That's a great gust there in response. Blade's going to have to go away with the Wraith Walk. Gets locked down there for a moment. He's going to be cleansed out there. And Danatan giving him a lot of trouble. He can't die here. If he goes down. That is now beGenius having to be on the retreat with no front line.
Yeah, a bit too aggressive there from Danatan, but I see why he went for it. The problem is they lost a keep in the bottom lane, so Falsehead had to retreat and grab it, and that opens up Bad Benny for an engage here on the right side. He jumps on his opposing Zul, and that is another takedown. Team Expert up in a 5v3.
This movement is not a keep move. This move is a core move. So now Falstad and Tychus going to have to dish out a lot of damage, but they've got to be so careful about the potential engage here.
They have to kill Vala. That's the #1 thing here. Get rid of Nick, but the team is doing such a good job of defending it.
And he's got Farflight Quiver, so he's attacking from even further away. That's going to be the Entomb. They're going to be trying to move on towards
the 3-man mod.
Perfect!
Kill the Falstad here. He gets away, but there's the engage explosion zone as well. 4 members down for beGenius. 13 seconds until we see a Muradin on the field. Kirwa trying his best to survive here, but it's not going to be enough. GG here as beGenius takes game #1 in the series.
A good recovery there from Team Expert, and they knew their game plan all game long. We emphasized it at the beginning, kill Muradin, and then it all falls apart.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Danatan, he did play a good game. I mean, by the end of that, he had like 55 stacks of his Perfect Storm, but he just didn't have enough survivability. When that last expulsion zone came down from ADRD to really cordon him off, you kill the Muradin, you open up the gates, you absolutely flood that side of the map.
Yeah, for you, those at home that's been wondering why we see double tanks so much here, that's one of the reasons why. If you have your main tank kick out of the fight, you don't even have to kill them. But if a tank has to walk away with a quarter of health, you have a really hard time with your engages, and that makes that you have no team fight available. And the 3 tanks being on the side here for Expert really allowed for them to dictate how they handled the map until they got that pick off. So well played by Expert, and they're just showing off, man, their skill here as they finish out the game with taking out that keep in the bottom left. And I can't believe they defended that top 8 keep for so long.
Yeah,
they were behind in a level for a good, 60 seconds it felt like, and still held on to that keep.
Yeah, it was a very eager move by beGenius. I understand why they went up there a second time as well to try and kill it off. That would have given them a good momentum on the map because there would have been catapults pushing down there as well, etc. It could have really kept Expert on the back foot, but by a slither of health, they were able to hold on.
Yeah, gotta agree with you. And now that we get ready for game number 2, we've seen the hand here for beGenius, and we've seen that Expert is willing to adapt to what they have here. Do they continue with the Tychus route and try to fix around there and maybe get some more firepower in their mix?
They could if they had a stronger front line, I feel. We can actually take a look at what kind of swang everything in the way of Team Expert here. So Danatan, you can see his position right now. The dwarf tosses forward when you're using heavy impact are so risky, and Team Expert was looking for that. They were absolutely looking for it. From that point on, you have no escape path there with the polymorph follow-up, with the lockdown you have. The expulsion zone was just great, because you could see Danatan wanted to move away, but had no way to do so. Be careful when you're dwarf tossing forwards.
Yeah, you can see the thought process too. He actually had rewind as his level 20 storm power, so if he got the rewind and then could jump out again, he'd be fine to go, but the polymorph really messed that up. Well, we'll be back with game number 2 in our series here, Team Expert taking on beGenius.